Today's story could reshape the way millions of currency holders think about their future. Because if what's being whispered behind the scenes is even halfway true, the long-awaited moment for Iraqi dinar and Vietnamese dong holders might finally be taking shape. Imagine this: private exchange centers across the United States quietly preparing, security protocols being updated, and insiders claiming appointment systems are already being tested. Could we really be on the edge of seeing U.S. exchanges go live? Or is this just another cycle of hype? In this deep dive, we'll break down exactly how U.S. exchanges could work step by step, from private scheduling and rate verification to possible digital settlement systems. Stay tuned till the end, because understanding how this process might unfold could help you prepare smarter than 90% of the market. Over the past several months, reports of activity inside certain U.S. financial channels have grown louder. Currency holders from coast to coast are claiming they've received calls, notifications, or even tentative scheduling links related to exchange appointments. Some claim banks are showing live but hidden rates for the Iraqi dinar and Vietnamese dong. Others say their contacts inside private redemption centers have been put on standby. While none of these claims can yet be verified, the consistency of the story is what's catching attention. Each new detail paints a picture of quiet preparation. Background systems being updated, staff trained, and digital verification tools being tested. For long-time holders, this feels different. After years of empty promises and speculation, the tone across communities has shifted from "if" to "when." So, what exactly does a U.S. exchange process for dinar or dong holders look like if it were to happen? Let's break it down clearly. The idea centers around a multi-step system designed for security, identification, and financial compliance. Holders would first receive a private notification, likely by email, text, or secured message, inviting them to schedule an appointment. That appointment would take place at an approved exchange or redemption location. Once there, the individual's currency would be authenticated using scanning and serial verification systems to confirm legitimacy. Next, exchange rates would be confirmed, potentially different from public forex rates, followed by documentation, signatures, and fund settlement. While this sounds complex, it's structured to keep both participants and institutions protected. In theory, exchanges would not happen publicly or all at once. Instead, they would roll out in controlled phases, beginning with smaller, pre-selected groups, often called Tier 4B. This tier generally refers to private individuals, not connected to government or military programs, but linked through online currency communities. These people may have registered in advance or expressed interest in prior exchange programs. The goal of this staged rollout would be to manage liquidity carefully and prevent chaos in broader markets. Banks would verify each exchange through compliance checks, including identification, source of funds, and anti-money laundering screening. Once cleared, funds might be held briefly in pending status before release, ensuring systems remain stable. This slow, methodical rollout prevents scale disruption while still allowing liquidity to move quietly behind the scenes. Now, let's talk about redemption centers, a term often mentioned in insider discussions. These centers are said to be private, invitation-only locations equipped with advanced scanning tools and direct digital connections to major clearing banks. Unlike a normal bank branch, these facilities could operate under confidentiality agreements, meaning participants sign NDAs to keep rates and details private. Once inside, the exchange is handled discreetly, verified, processed, and recorded on secured digital ledgers. Supporters of this theory believe these centers are part of a broader modern financial upgrade, potentially linked to emerging digital financial systems that offer greater transparency and instant settlement. Whether these centers already exist or are still being prepared remains unclear, but their consistent mention suggests they may play a major role if U.S. exchanges officially begin. Why is this level of secrecy necessary? Because any sudden public confirmation could trigger massive speculation. If a global or national revaluation were publicly announced before systems were ready, it could cause instability in banking, currency trading, and even political relations. Therefore, these exchanges, if happening, would likely be rolled out in waves under tight confidentiality. Participants would be required to remain silent until full market synchronization occurs. This prevents early information leaks that could impact exchange rates or cause digital systems to overload. While that might sound extreme, it's the same principle used in high-security financial operations, such as government bond releases or institutional settlements. Quiet execution ensures that when liquidity does move, it does so without creating economic shockwaves. Now, one of the biggest questions is, how would exchange rates be determined? Based on years of discussion within the financial community, rates could vary depending on several factors: market conditions, agreements between governments, and asset-backed support structures. For example, if Iraq's currency were to be valued based on oil reserves and economic recovery metrics, the dinar could reflect a stronger base rate than it currently holds on public forex markets. Similarly, Vietnam's rapid industrial growth could justify a higher dong value once international trade settlements fully adjust. However, it's important to note that no confirmed rates exist. Any numbers circulating online are speculative at best. What matters most is understanding the process, not chasing rumors of a specific rate. Let's also discuss why these two currencies, the Iraqi dinar and the Vietnamese dong, remain at the heart of this conversation. Both represent economies with strong potential yet historically suppressed valuations. Iraq, rich in oil and natural resources, continues to rebuild its infrastructure, strengthen banking regulation, and stabilize its fiscal policies. Meanwhile, Vietnam stands as one of Asia's fastest-growing export economies with strong manufacturing, trade surpluses, and stable growth. Analysts believe both countries are gradually positioning themselves for integration into a more balanced global currency system. This ongoing progress fuels speculation that revaluation or realignment could eventually reflect their true economic power. But how could USU-based exchanges tie into global movements? It's possible that if major central banks and institutions coordinate behind the scenes, private exchanges in the U.S. could serve as early test runs or liquidity channels. These exchanges would allow currency holders to convert old notes into digital or fiat equivalents at pre-agreed rates. Funds could then be processed through updated settlement systems, possibly linked to blockchain or advanced ledger technology. This would allow instant recording, transparent auditing, and cross-border compatibility. In short, the U.S. could serve as one of the main gateways for transitioning these older currency holdings into the modernized financial system. If the process is indeed real and operational, technology plays a massive role here. Behind nearly every rumor or insider update, there's mention of advanced digital settlement systems, sometimes called quantum or next-generation financial platforms. These systems are said to allow asset-backed transactions, real-time currency validation, and instant cross-bank settlement. If true, that means the infrastructure required for global currency recalibration could already be in testing phases. In past cycles, the lack of such technology was one of the main barriers to revaluation. Now, with modernized blockchain integration and digital asset tracking, that barrier may finally be gone. Whether this tech is called QFS, digital ledger, or something else, the purpose remains the same: enable secure, traceable, and transparent financial movement worldwide. Another key point worth discussing is the verification process for currencies. In legitimate exchange operations, verification is critical to ensure every note is authentic and recorded. This means each dinar or dong bill would be scanned, checked against serial databases, and validated before acceptance. Fake or altered notes would be immediately rejected. Once verified, those values would be credited into the participant's account digitally. That process, while time-consuming, prevents fraud and ensures only legitimate currency holders participate. It also gives institutions a chance to confirm that participants are not violating financial regulations or international sanctions. Let's look at what could happen after the exchange. Once verified, funds might not appear instantly in participants' accounts. Instead, they could show as pending, restricted, or time-released. This delay would allow liquidity management and system synchronization across banks. Participants might also receive options, such as placing funds into structured payout programs, humanitarian projects, or investment vehicles tied to national development. This staged approach ensures financial systems remain stable, while also channeling new wealth into productive areas. It's a process that sounds complex but mirrors real-world institutional liquidity management used after large transfers or asset conversions. But here's something most people overlook: timing. Many analysts suggest that the timing any potential revaluation or exchange rollout would likely coincide with fiscal year end or global financial reconciliation periods. For example, October has historically been a period where central banks adjust reserves, governments realign budgets, and major institutions close quarterly ledgers. Launching during such a window makes sense. It minimizes disruption and aligns with existing financial reporting cycles. Some claim this timing is not accidental but part of a coordinated global process, ensuring smooth execution when systems finally activate. Of course, not everyone agrees that these developments are real. Skeptics argue that most of the so-called insider updates are recycled speculation. They point out that similar claims have surfaced for over a decade, none officially verified, and they're right to caution people. Without verified data, all of this remains speculation, not confirmation. But even skeptics admit something feels different this time. The consistency, volume, and alignment of reports across continents are unusual. Financial analysts, alternative media outlets, and even private consultants acknowledge that major system tests, digital upgrades, and cross-bank settlements are indeed happening globally. Whether or not these events directly relate to a dinar or dong revaluation remains to be seen, but the timing is intriguing. Let's zoom in on how U.S. institutions could technically manage such exchanges. If private holders were invited to exchange, banks would likely use existing systems like Fedwire, StubIFT, or upgraded blockchain-compatible platforms to process funds. Identification would be mandatory. Government-issued ID, proof of currency ownership, and potentially tax documentation. Once approved, funds could be credited into USD-based accounts in either USD or digital equivalents. Redemption centers might also provide non-disclosure paperwork explaining the confidentiality of the process. To ensure legal compliance, IRS oversight or federal auditing systems could be integrated. Essentially, the process would combine strict banking standards with new technology-driven safeguards. An interesting theory circulating lately is that these U.S. exchanges could also act as a pilot for a more digitized future economy. Instead of merely converting physical currency, the process could serve as a test for large-scale digital asset onboarding. By using advanced authentication and digital ledgers, financial institutions would not only settle currency exchanges, but also validate the effectiveness of future blockchain-based systems. This would mark a historic transition, bridging the gap between the legacy monetary system and a modernized, transparent digital economy. Whether tied to the dinar or not, such testing would signal the beginning of a massive technological shift in how value is recorded and transferred globally. Still, one must remember that until official confirmation appears from recognized financial authorities or major banks, all of this remains unverified. Investors should approach every claim with caution, avoiding emotional decision-making. Scammers often use moments like this to exploit hope. If you ever receive a message promising instant exchanges, always verify directly with trusted financial professionals. Never share private banking data with unverified sources. The excitement surrounding this topic is understandable, but patience and logic must guide every action. Genuine revaluations, if they occur, will eventually be confirmed publicly through rate charts, bank statements, and verified documentation. Until then, it's best to stay informed but careful. That said, even the discussion of a possible exchange process has created renewed energy in the community. After years of silence, there's momentum, conversation, and curiosity again. The global financial system is undeniably evolving. Digital currencies, blockchain banking, and asset-backed settlements are no longer theory. And within that evolution, the Iraqi dinar and Vietnamese dong could very well find new relevance. If these nations continue their current economic paths, it's possible that one day their currencies will naturally rise in value, whether through official revaluation or gradual appreciation. So, where does this leave dinar and dong holders today? The best position is one of awareness, not panic. Stay updated, but don't chase rumors. Learn how modern banking systems are changing. Understand how exchange protocols, digital settlements, and international financial realignments work. This knowledge alone puts you ahead of the curve. Because when or if real exchanges begin, those who understand the mechanics will move with confidence. Remember, major transitions never happen overnight. They happen quietly, systematically, and with precision. In the end, this conversation is about more than just currency. It's about financial transformation, technological evolution, and the hope of fairness returning to global value systems. Whether U.S. exchanges are truly preparing to launch or not, the world is changing fast, and those paying attention now will be ready when history turns the page. The coming months may finally reveal if this moment, long discussed and deeply awaited, is real. Until then, stay calm, stay informed, and stay patient. This has been Iraqi Dinar News, your trusted source for deep, fact-based analysis on global currency developments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more real-time updates as this incredible story continues to unfold.